Colorado is one of the top states Texans are currently moving to, especially moving forward in 2026. So today we're gonna be talking about a lot of the pros and trade-offs that you're gonna have between state versus state. And you're gonna wanna stay tuned because this still might apply to you even if you're coming from somewhere else outside of Texas.
That's right. And in addition to that, we're gonna be doing a deep dive on the cost of living, the housing, the weather, just all the things that are gonna be great for you Texans and soon to be Coloradans to know before you get to the state.
Texas is flat, we're not. Moving on.
There we go.
All jokes aside, there are some things to consider. And believe it or not, there's a lot more similarities of things that you might like about Texas that you will find that you will like about Colorado as well. Either way, all jokes aside, let's dive into it.
All right, now to kick it off, to be fair, Colorado and Texas do change a lot of people, right? We see some Coloradans going over to Texas and we see a lot of Texans coming to Colorado. Matter of fact, California is the #1 state of people moving to Colorado. Texas is the second biggest state bringing people to Colorado. And we've got about 3 clients right now that we're helping move from Texas to Colorado. So we thought this video would be perfect because a lot of you guys are moving here, not because you have to, not because you need to, but because you want to. So one of the first things that we hear from people moving from Texas to Colorado is just the overall quality of life, particularly around the weather.
Correct, so you just get a lot more fair weather seasons here. So again, it snows here, but it doesn't snow terribly. And when it does, it melts within a couple of days. We do get summer heat here. It gets up to about 100, 103 toward the late ends of the summer, like first, second week of August, but it's dry heat. There's not a lot of humidity. We also don't have a lot of insects. So you're just not dealing a lot with the heat or any insects and bugs that come with that. We've got a moth season that migrates in about a week. But overall, you get the flavor of everything you'd want to have. The snowy Christmas and rain in the spring. You get some rain in the fall as well, but it's just not so overwhelming to where you dread a season. And I know Texas gets hot and it stays hot for a long time and you've got humidity. And there's not necessarily a lot to enjoy down there with a lot of heat that comes with it.
And that weather translates perfectly into our outdoor lifestyle. So it may be no big surprise to you, but guys, you have a all year round outdoor lifestyle when it comes to things to do in Colorado.
Correct.
And that's one of the biggest things that we hear from people is, when they're coming from Texas, like, man, we just can't go outside, multiple months out of the year. It's just not enjoyable, similar to our folks that are moving here from Arizona. But when you're looking at, obviously, skiing and snowboarding in the wintertime to kayaking, whitewater rafting, and hiking in the summertime, and everything to do in those transitional seasons of spring and fall time. Because there's so much to do out here in Colorado. And being from Texas, I think a lot of you guys are naturally active and things like that, as opposed to maybe, no offense, but people coming from like the Midwest, right? Texans tend to be a little bit more active just in their day-to-day lifestyle. Sorry.
Wonder what Eli thinks the Midwest looks like. That's gonna be on our next video. But and again, all jokes aside, you also have a little bit more significance here. And what I mean by that is when you guys find little communities to go hiking with or skiing with, or you meet people on the mountain, people are very friendly here in Colorado. And it's a major city, but it's still small enough where you will actually still run into some of the same people when you go downtown.
Yes.
If you're going up to Vail or Breckenridge and you like to ski or snowboard on certain days, you're gonna find a lot of the same communities. I know a lot of times in Texas, especially like when you get into Dallas, things are so big, you're kind of insignificant, as in you're just always kind of doing some things, but you don't necessarily know anybody or feel a very homey kind of feel that you kind of like. And here people still open doors, they still say hello to you. No disrespect to Texas, not saying that they don't do that. I have lived in certain places where they get, so big, especially in California, where man, people just aren't holding doors and saying hi because there's just no sense of like community or, oh, hey, it's good to see you again. Like you just don't have a lot of that. Denver is big and you get a lot of major things that you can do here, our international airport, the things that are happening downtown, but it's still small enough where you still kind of feel like that sense of community. And I feel like when things get too big, you tend to lose some of that.
That's right. And everything is bigger in Texas. We all know that, right? That's your guys' phrase. But what we like to say here in Colorado is that Denver, and especially the Denver metro area, it's big enough, but also just small enough.
Yeah.
Now, one of the similarities that the two states share, which is just a major convenience factor, whether you're coming from Texas to Colorado or Colorado to Texas, is the centralized location.
Correct.
One of the things we hear frequently from our clients is that they love being so central to the middle of the country in Texas because it's easy to get to the West Coast, it's easy to get to the East Coast. Colorado is going to be very similar, especially because we also have an international airport.
Correct. Now, Dallas technically has 2 major airports. We've got the one, more than suffices, it's the largest airport in the country, from my understanding. And we're also, again, we're in a very similar time zone, right? So even when you're working remotely, you're 2 hours behind the East Coast, you're 1 hour ahead of the West Coast, right in that middle. So if you work remote and you're looking for that great time zone, it is absolutely phenomenal. Another thing that I want to add to this as well when it comes to just the whole big but small at the same time, but something that's similar.
Sure.
Sports are super competitive and we love cheering, especially Texas. You guys are all about your sports from high school, little league, all the way up through your professional sports with the Dallas Cowboys and everything else. You're gonna get the same vibe here from Regis High School to Christian Valor to Cherry Creek High School to the Denver Broncos and Avalanche and Nuggets. Let's leave the Rockies out of it. Outside of that, like, you're gonna get a great sports atmosphere. So if your children participate in sports, if you like participating and cheering for local professional teams, the atmosphere here is electric. We have one of the loudest football stadiums. Literally, when the Broncos are playing at home, you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. And spring and summertime for baseball, going to Coors Field, enjoying the atmospherics of that. Fall time at the Broncos Stadium. It's a great atmosphere and a great landscape of being able to see the Rocky Mountains inside of that stadium and just having a great time. So you're definitely not gonna miss out on anything like that when it comes to your overall tenacity to cheer for your teams, or if you're bringing your kids here, making sure that they get to a good high school organization and they've got, or the club sports that you want them participating in, you're gonna have plenty of competition here.
Okay, now to continue along with some of the similarities, one thing that you're gonna find similarly between the housing aspect of Texas versus Colorado, much like Texas has these big master plan communities like new build homes, you're gonna find a lot of that out here in Colorado as well, where you will have an HOA, but along with that HOA comes a beautiful neighborhood, comes a lot of inclusions and amenities with the community itself. But one of the trade-offs is going to be the cost of housing, I would say mostly from per square footage basis. So in Texas, you guys are notorious for having these big homes at an affordable price. Well, in Colorado, you are going to have a smaller footprint size of home typically for your same cost of square footage, but that big trade-off is typically going to be your proximity to the city, your proximity to nature, and just all of the other good lifestyle changes that are gonna come with your move.
Correct, and you're still gonna have plenty of house. If you guys are comparing 800,000 to 800,000, if you're comparing 1 million to 1 million, and if you're comparing 1.5 to 1.5, you're gonna get a lot of bang for buck here in Colorado, and you're gonna have a lot more space, believe it or not, that you can venture into that's still close to the city. So some of these master plan communities are in Southeast Aurora and beyond, and you're still 37 minutes to the city. A lot of places that are just really big in Texas, Dallas, the whole Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's big. You're not necessarily gonna be too close to the city if you're wanting certain things. So believe it or not, even if you kind of go to the outskirts of Southeast Aurora, south side of Parker, you're getting a lot of bang for buck, and being within 40 minutes to the city is awesome. All right, now before we continue to give you guys the rest of the points that we think are most important, we wanna make sure that we pop up our relocation guide and our phone number here below. We are licensed realtors, and just as much as we love making this content, we would love more help with the real estate needs. If you guys wanna text us, reload guide, we will make sure we get that to you. It's 40 pages, it's free, it's mobile friendly. It's got everything that you need, or you guys can just book a phone call or just call us somewhere direct, or the guys to pick up. Moving on, let's get right into these next points that are most important.
All right, moving along, another similarity that you guys are already gonna be used to is that it is a car-centric city 100%. Out here, right? For any of our cities, you're gonna plan on having a car, you're gonna plan on driving to where you need to go. It's not gonna be the most walkable area. There are some places downtown where it's walkable, but for the most part, just like Texas, plan on driving to where you wanna go.
Correct. Now, you do have enough public transportation downtown, and if you wanna live downtown, there's definitely a lot more townhomes and condos that are getting built in the next 3 to 5 years that are gonna be awesome. Even some maybe a little bit more soon than just the 3 years. And maybe similar to like the feel of Austin. I know there's a lot of really cool, just old town feel in Austin with comedy shops and different little downtown areas. And
restaurants, great restaurants.
Fun restaurants, that home kind of feel. You do get some of that in Denver as well. And if you do wanna live proximity to, you don't necessarily have to have public transportation. Austin, very similar. If you're not living on the outskirts, if you're just kind of down around the hub of Austin, you can have that. So there is some of that feel, but definitely what we say here in Colorado is, especially with the mountains and the different lakes that we have here, when you live in Austin, you're in and around Austin, and that's where you're at, and that's what you're hanging, what you're doing. In Colorado, even people that live downtown, they still want to get up to the mountains, they still want to get out to the lakes and really enjoy the Colorado lifestyle. So we still promote having a vehicle here, making sure that you take advantage of everything Colorado has to offer, because there are some different things when it comes to here versus where you guys are at. It's the mountains. It's amazing. You're going to want to venture in.
All right, so now we talked about some of the similarities. Let's dive into just some of the differences here. One of the most important differences to consider here is cost of living. So there are some similarities, there are some differences, but diving into some of the specific numbers, let's just look at average home prices to average home price. Okay, now if we're comparing average home price of Denver to average home price just to Dallas, for example, Denver has an average home price of $570,000, whereas Dallas's average home price is $460,000. So you're looking at just about roughly $100,000 difference there. But here is where you're going to see the major differences. Our property taxes. You can't bring up property tax without bringing up income tax. Now, Texas is always so proud because there is no state income tax, where Colorado has a 4.4 flat income tax for the state. Even with that 4.4% income tax, you are most likely going to be saving substantially on your property tax. Right. So the average property tax out here in Colorado is about 0.5% of the assessed value of your home. So if you're looking at a $600,000 house here in Colorado, you're looking at about a $3,000 tax bill every year. If you're in Texas, you're looking at roughly about a 1.36% tax on that same $600,000 house is going to be just over $8,000. Right. So that's about a $5,000 difference annually in your property tax, which comes out to over $400 per month.
Correct, and you guys can also like get really into details and just start looking at cost of goods as far as how much gas costs in Texas, as far as like what you're doing out there and how far you have to commute and how much you're using gas. You guys can look at cost of grocery and things like that.
When I saw our gas out the other day, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I don't know.
$1.86.
I've been cutting Eli off for 8 years, so no problem. We've got great gas prices here right now. Cost of goods have come down. Now I'm sure there's some similarities out there in Texas as well. A lot of this is just natural, national things that are coming down. But ultimately, some of it just kind of comes out in the wash. A couple more things that cost more here in Colorado to trade off with the activities and things you guys get to do. I feel like it's great. But either way, when you're looking at it, if you're looking at a $100,000 difference in overall just price of housing per se, whether you're in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, wherever you guys are at, if you can afford those areas, you can also afford Colorado. There might be a couple of trade-offs, but I will tell you that Eli and I have traveled the entire country. We've trained agents all over the country doing YouTube and real estate. We've been on stages of upwards of 7,000 people all the way down to intimate 50 agent settings. And we've seen a lot and we've been a lot. And the one thing that we're really proud of here in Colorado is our new build construction and the quality of goods that are here are amazing. So even if you're sacrificing 500 square feet or 400 square feet, the quality of build here is amazing. And you might not need all that extra square footage because of the different things that you could go out in your master plan community neighborhood and just enjoying Colorado. You don't necessarily need those bigger lots. You're going out, you're doing more. Now, one thing that they do have in Texas that might be a little bit different is I know they have a lot of RV parking for their homes and the big RV garages.
Sure.
Those are coming to Colorado. You've already got some master plan communities that are building those attached to the houses, and they are allowed. I know sometimes RVs aren't allowed in front of properties more than 48 hours if you're prepping it for camping, but you don't want to pay for some offsite place to have it. New build construction is starting those type of garages, right? So really cool where there's a similarity there. But again, if you guys can afford the areas you're coming from in Texas, there might be a couple of trade-offs here, but you can still more than afford quality of life here as well.
All right, now let's dive into some of the mistakes Texans might make when moving to Colorado, or maybe just some things that you're gonna overlook. Number one being underestimating just overall winter driving, but overestimating the snow.
You just want to be careful. And a lot of times you can get up to speed. It's really the slow down process you're going to want to have when it comes to the snow. Temperature changes really quickly here. Even if you don't see a lot of snow on the ground, it can start to freeze over really quick. So even if you feel like you're comfortable driving at a certain speed limit, literally you can see a highway go from just some snow kind of hitting it to all of a sudden it's ice. Before you know it. So as far as like speed, just being cautious, leaving work a little bit early, always something to consider. But again, it's not so much the speed you're going, it's whether you're able to slow down or not for traffic ahead of you, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just being a little bit more cautious there. And that's my opinion when it comes to preparing for a lot of the inclement weather.
That's perfect for winter driving, but when it comes to Texans overestimating the snow, what I mean by that is it doesn't snow here as much as you think. Matter of fact, Colorado will get on average only 3 snowstorms per year where we're getting more than 6 inches. Only 3. That's not a lot. And right now, I mean, we're through the first week in January and we've only had one minor snowstorm this
Correct.
year.
So and it's really where you get a lot of the snows up in the mountains and just as you get closer to the mountains. So Golden, Evergreen, those areas are going to be more inclement. Boulder, more inclement. You're going to want to be prepared. Out here, you'll get a foot once or twice, maybe 9 inches. And they're real snow, but we've got great infrastructure with our cities and how well that they plow it. Inside of neighborhoods and HOAs, get those things taken care of pretty well. You're going to want to make sure you take care of your personal property. And it's not even those big snowstorm days that are hard. It's when you're getting temperature changes and that blizzard or that snow blowing in while you're in that commute and things can get really messy or really icy really quick and you just want to be prepared.
Yeah, and it can snow here and your power's not gonna go out for a week. Right? That's always nice. That's always nice.
Was that in Houston somewhere? They had that sleet
yeah,
storm? You guys were in an apocalypse for like 9 weeks. Yeah, it was a bummer, man.
Yeah, the people here, for the most part, know how to drive in the winter. And more importantly, our utility companies, everything like that, we're built for it, right? All right, now one of the other mistakes we see when people are moving here is not necessarily having a clear understanding of how the schools work. All right, now in Colorado, you can be within a certain school district, and as long as you're within that school district, you don't have to go to the school within your neighborhood that you're technically assigned to.
You can open enroll.
Yeah, you can open enroll, you can go to a different school within that school district, and in some special cases, if your child needs to go to a school in a different school district, they can make exceptions for academic programs, sports programs, and things like that on occasion.
A lot, and if you guys are communicating with the school district and really assessing why you need to go somewhere, we haven't heard of any stories where they could have that. I'm sure there have been some stories, we just haven't heard of any stories. It's this new thing, I think it's been out for the last 3 or 4 years or 3 years, the open enrollment process within your district. And so far, so great, people are enjoying it.
Another thing to know about our schools out here is that just as far as the school culture, Colorado is big on alternatives, right? So charter schools are huge out here. STEM schools, private schools. I'd say charter and STEM are more popular than private, but it's not one of these states where it's like, oh my God, my kid has to get into this neighborhood to go to this specific school. There are options. It's kind of culturally the norm out here for you to kind of choose what you want to do with your kid in their school.
Now with some of these private schools, there are a lot of grants and scholarships for your kids. So if you're looking at Regis High School, if you're looking at Christian Valor, some of these places, and you want them to go there and you're looking at the affordability, whatever it may be, we would love to help you with looking up some grants or some scholarships. If you're new to Colorado, some things for that. If your kid's notorious for having great grades or being an athlete, there's also some things you can do there. So definitely turn those stones, and even if you can't afford it, but you like some scholarship or some grant money, there's different things that they can do within the school as well. So those are more doable than you might think. I'm speaking from contextual experience because I've got a daughter in high school that goes to one of those schools, and we've had a great experience so far with getting some of those things.
Now, one of the other mistakes, or I guess common misconceptions we would see from Texans moving to Colorado is thinking that Denver equals the mountains. It does not. Now, Will made a joke at the very beginning of this video about Texas being flat. Believe it or not, the majority of the metro area is going to feel mostly flat.
With a view.
With a view.
We're flat with a view. We're not flat.
That's a great way to put it.
With a view, all right?
That's right. And that encompasses pretty much Denver and then maybe a 45-minute radius out.
Correct. And you've got some great hills. You've got rolling hills. You've got a lot of great green landscape around. So it's not like we're flat like Kansas and there's just tumbleweeds and nothing. It's very green here. You've got amazing landscape. You've got Castle Rock is a great example of it. You're in the cliffs. It's amazing. Southeast Aurora has some great rolling hills. So you still feel like it's definitely different than other states, but you've also got an amazing view of the mountains as well.
And guys, you're typically 45 minutes away from the real mountains.
Correct.
Right? You don't need to go and drive 2 hours into Silverthorne or 3 hours into Vail or 4 hours into Aspen to get into the mountains. You head west, 40 minutes, and you're in the real mountains.
And because they're 14,000 feet plus in the air, you also don't have to live in the mountains to have the view of the mountain. So when you're looking at very South Texas, where you guys are in Corpus Christi and you've got some water, if you don't live on the water, you don't have a view of the water. Here in Colorado with the mountains, believe it or not, some of your most desirable places to live here are 30 to 45 minutes away, and you've got these great, amazing views of the entire Rocky Mountains right off of your back porch. So believe it or not, you don't have to live in the mountains or on the mountains to have the most desirable view or place that you might want to stay. So definitely keep an open mind as far as that as well.
Yeah, guys, and one of the biggest changes that you're gonna notice moving from Texas to Colorado is you can drive 45 minutes and cover the entire metro area. Versus Texas, I know, is so spread out, it might take you 45 minutes just to get from one city to the next city.
Correct.
Colorado, guys, you're getting the entire Denver metro area within 30 to 45 minutes.
And our traffic is amazing here comparatively to most major states. We've got so many highways and byways that take you in and out of the city. You don't have these huge mouth straps like you do in a lot of places in Texas. You definitely don't have the traffic jams that get caused by those a lot. Our average mile per hour during rush hour traffic is like 34 miles an hour, 37 miles an hour. You don't have a lot of stop and go at all. You have 1 or 2 exits on I-25 that kind of get a little bit slowed down. And once you're free from those, things are pretty mild and pretty great, which is also an amazing thing. So as far as like some of the traffic you dread in Texas, definitely look forward to better traffic comparatively here in Denver.
Now, what's the most important thing they should do before moving from Texas to Colorado?
Calling us. We're your guys.
right.
We're your realtors, whether it's that relocation guide or different area guides on some specific areas that you guys are curious about this. We also do YouTube lives every Tuesday. We're going to be covering a lot of this stuff probably on our YouTube live this evening. You'll see it on Tuesdays. But either way, just making sure that you're reaching out, asking your specific questions and how we can help you specifically with your circumstances, and just making sure that the game plan we have for you is a game plan that's the best fit as far as you guys making your commute, whether it's now or a year from now, just making sure you're prepared.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on our live or next week.
See you guys.